Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This is your host, Bad Luck Chuck. We're back for another week as we get closer to the 2021 NFL Draft. Over to the bottom left-hand corner, got my guy Boogie. And over to the bottom right-hand corner is my guy Country. He's struggling right now. But anyway, we got him to the bottom right-hand corner. And our special guest of the week, to the top right-hand corner, he's covering the Chiefs for Arrowhead Addict. He's the NFL draft guru around these parts. So I would like to welcome Arrowhead Tom to this week's episode of Kingdom Cast. How you doing this evening, Arrowhead Tom?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Really excited to talk draft. Anytime I can get a chance to, that's my thing. So, yeah.
So good deal, my man. Well, as everyone knows, it's getting close to that time of the year. I guess you could say it's one of the main holidays of the year, as far as football fans are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So start us off, Country.
Man, I'm just ready for the draft. It seems like it's been like 8 months since we had a football game, and it's been another 10 weeks since the combine, and then we got another 14 weeks to go to the draft. I'm just really over it. I'm just ready to draft. I'm just ready for it to happen. Mm-hmm. And so pick 31, I don't even want to talk about pick 31. Everybody's talked about pick 31 and pick 63. I want to talk about pick 135, or is it 31, 34? Do you see any sleepers or late round gems? If we got L'Jarius Sneed was a definition of a late round gem. You see any guys that could do that this year? Any guys you got your eye on that's not getting the pub that everybody else is getting, and or not getting the attention?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if they'll be as good as L'Jarius Sneed was. Those are big shoes to live up to. But there's a lot of guys that are. For me, I'm like, I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about him. I'll start with probably one of my favorite guys in the draft is an offensive guard out of Georgia, Ben Cleveland. The dude looks like
Ben Cleveland.
Yeah,
I
the
just
dude
love
looks
his
like
name.
if you know the Mountain from Game of Thrones, and then if you follow wrestling, like Braun Strowman, it looks like those two people just merged into one, and that guy's out here playing guard. The guy's like 6'7" and 330 pounds of just raw muscle. I mean, we can argue about scheme fit and all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, the dude is going to just run over the guy in front of him. And I have him as a mid-second round grade, but I see him a lot of times going in the third and fourth. I don't know. I mean, first of all, I'd be super happy if Kansas City took him, because I think that he's it's like when we had Colecchio Simile for a couple of weeks last year, and everyone was like, yeah, that's what an offensive lineman's supposed to be like. That's how I feel about Ben Cleveland. That nasty, run you over, isn't necessarily going to be the guy you pull out in space, but just line him up and run through guys. That appeals to the old school football fan in me. So Ben Cleveland is definitely one of my guys. There's another one, a wide receiver out of Iowa, Amir Smith Marset. So he's in a lot of the ways he does what McCole Hardman does. But my thought process on him is you bring him in and you let McCole Hardman focus on being specifically a wide receiver, and Smith Marset takes over your special team stuff. You saw kind of at the end of the year, it felt like Hardman was struggling with returning punts, and we saw some of that in the playoffs. And we want McCole to succeed. So let's let him focus on doing one thing really well, and then Smith Marset, he's I think 6'1". Like the high 180s, 185, 186, and then he ran slower than what he looks like on the field, but he was just explosive play after explosive play for Iowa. Had some off the field issues. I think it was a drug related arrest, and then just some other little things that kind of held him back. He missed some time, but when he's on the field, the dude plays crazy well. I mean, just every time he touches the ball, it's that same. I mean, you guys know what it's like watching the Kansas City Chiefs, Tyreek Hill. McCole Hardman, every time they touch the ball, kind of that same mold of playmaker. One more who I think is probably more of a day two guy, but I'm higher on him than most is Joe Tryon, the defensive end out of Washington. I think he's got good size and can fill his frame out a little bit more in terms of being a bigger defensive end like Steve Spagnuolo likes. He has got I would say confidently he's got the nastiest inside swim move in the draft. He goes up and over guys like it's crazy. He had one. There's a screenshot floating around after the Super Bowl of two Chiefs offensive linemen like blocking each other because they got beat so bad. But I think sorry to bring it up, but he did that exact same thing. I think it was against Utah State. Did the exact same thing to two of their guys. I mean, just split the dude and like pats the guy on the back as he's going past him. It was like, just like good day, buddy. And it was absolutely ruthless. So I'm a big Joe Tryon fan. I'm just going through guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown from USC, wide receiver. That's my guy. I think you could play him all over the field, outside, inside. I compared him to maybe a slightly less explosive Jeremy Maclin. Just does everything really well. I think he ran a little slower than Maclin did, but just in terms of that versatility, playing wherever you want. There's a couple other names. I'm just going through this list.
I'm glad you brought up kick returner, punt returner, because I think that's like a under the radar need. Because McCall, we discussed it before, and we got hashtag McCall don't want to do it no more. He clearly is over the punt return, kick return guy. I don't think he even wants to do it anymore. So I'm glad you named one of those type of guys because that's a luxury need, but it's like a slight need nonetheless.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it anymore.
Well, if it makes him a better, more productive receiver, that helps the team, in other ways. So again, want him to focus on being a receiver, not receiver, special teams, and kick. Because these guys spend time in their meeting rooms with their coaches every week. If more time with his receiver coaches and in that receiving room is going to make him a better receiver, that benefits the team, especially, with Watkins going over to Baltimore. They need that third, fourth guy to step up. So, and it's really on McCall this year to do that.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking, man, because they definitely could use that because you drafted them pretty high for a second rounder. So this is the time for him to produce, man. Like, it's do or die. Like, if he doesn't produce this season, then it might be a bust. It might be a miss, man, because when you draft him in the second round, you definitely want him to be more than a gadget player.
Yeah.
And speaking of guys from Iowa, shout out to my guy, Philip Magruder. He's in the building. He talked about Chauncey Gulstan from Iowa, defensive end. Consider him a day 3 diamond. So what do you think about Chauncey Gulstan?
Yeah, Gulstan's got some interesting tools to work with. I run hot and cold on him. There are moments where I'm just like, this guy is probably like, take him in the 4th or 5th round. And then there's some other players that just I worry about his overall athleticism, like in terms of being able to really get through offensive tackles, like in terms of in a passing situation. I just don't think he's got the juice to really get through. He kind of I'd almost compare him to a little bit to Mike Dana in terms of he might be an early down guy who gives you a little bit of pass rush, but I don't think for a day 3 guy he's definitely going to provide value for somebody. I don't think that he is. I don't think he's going to be a long term or a Pro Bowl level pass rusher. But as far as just being beef on the offensive line and being a guy who can rotate in. And I say he doesn't have that. I'll say he doesn't have that much juice because he definitely has some plays where you're just like, oh, okay, all right, I see you, Chauncey. Like I get it, but he's not. I think he's limited athletically, and he's kind of his size is kind of I don't call him undersized. 6'4", 268, but he's gonna make his bread and butter off being a high effort guy anyways and kind of a cleanup guy, but. I do like him as a prospect, and if he was, a day 3 guy, I'd be happy to have him in there.
Hey, Tom, what do you think about Dylan Moses?
Man, I loved Dylan Moses so much before his injury. The kid's a stud, and he's been like built in a lab to play middle linebacker. For him, it's going to be the medicals that really determine it. This last year, you could see, and I think he even said it himself that he was playing in constant pain, which is scary. You don't want players having to play in pain like that. It almost makes you think of the Eric Berry situation where it's like, okay, is there something else? Like, I know you had this injury in your past, but is there something else going on here? Are you going to need surgery? His stock has really cooled off. day 3, take this. I would take a swing on him if you can get him back to being who he was, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago at Alabama. You're getting a guy who, they were talking about him as a top 15, top 20 pick, and that's real. And everything on the film said that. He was, there was some conversations. I'm trying to remember which podcast I was listening to. I'm pretty sure it was one of the Draft Network ones, but they were talking about how there were conversations with Alabama about shutting him down, but he wanted to be on the field because it was his job to line everybody up. And so there's a part of me that really respects his competitive toughness. But I think if you draft him, you might be in a situation where you want to give him a year off to kind of figure out, or even you start him on the PUP list and you give him just some extra couple months to rehab and figure out what's going on. That would be 100%. You got to trust your trainer on that call. But as far as the player goes, the personality, all that stuff, he's an A+ dude.
What about Pete Werner?
Speaking of, go ahead, Boogie. I'm sorry.
My fault, Country.
Werner's kind of a tough one, a tougher one for me. I know a lot of people like him. I don't see it as much. Again, I've seen him kind of progress, so maybe more people like what he's growing into. The linebacker class this year, it's been hard because there's not a lot of guys that have moved the needle for me. I think Werner's going to play outside in a 4-3. I think there might be some questions about. I think tackle to tackle, like if you're just asking him to play that, you're good, like against the run. And I think he'll be a solid starter for probably 10 years. It's like a lot of people get really excited about him, and I'm like, I think he'll be good. I don't know if he'll be, this all-world, day one starter or whatever. But I think that he's going to be a guy that you can plug in, or you bring in eventually, and he'll have a solid career. But I think ultimately his upside is going to be limited by his athleticism and his ability in coverage. I think that's, some of that is just you have to wait and see how it translates to the pro level.
There's a guy that's shooting up this week, Stone Forsythe, I think is his name. Another great name, great football name.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on? He's shooting up a lot of boards this week, or he's getting or he got a great agent that is really pushing him this week. Because his name is being mentioned everywhere. Like he went from low round to first round guy this week, which is crazy. Yeah. So, any thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's flown up the board. I looked at him earlier in the year. Because his name popped out, and I'll be honest, that was why. I was like, "That's a cool name." You look at the frame and you look at some of the work that he's done, and you're like, okay, you could definitely see the tools. Do I think a team's going to fall in love with him and take him earlier than what he should? Probably. I think I had I've got him as my 11th tackle on my board, and actually I moved him up a couple of spots recently, but I think he's going to have to move beyond just relying on being the bigger dude. And, he's going to have to really clean up his technique, worry about his feet and his frame. Just being 6'8", all those guys, it's really easy, or it's easier for people to get underneath your pads when you're that tall. So I like him as a prospect. I don't know if I don't think you can ask him to come in and start day one. I think that's a tough ask. So some of that hype is dangerous. So, but yeah, that's where we're. If he was I'd say third round, if the Chiefs grabbed him, I'd be okay with that as a guy that bring along and eventually be a starter.
Okay, so since you mentioned him being 11th on your tackle list, I know the Chiefs. I know majority of Chiefs Kingdom wants the Chiefs to draft a tackle in the first round. So who do you have on your board currently that you think would be available by then, and which guy do you like in the first round that they were?
Yeah, so just running through I think the top 3 tackles are Penny Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Christian Darrisaw. Darrisaw, I know his stock is kind of cooling, and there's some questions about him. I get that because I don't really I don't see it as much with Darrisaw as some other people. So I think all 3 of those guys are going to be gone. A popular name I hear is Samuel Cosby. I have him as my 4th tackle. I think he's going to be gone, if we're being honest. He's just very athletic, and I think there's going to be a team that swoops in and takes him. Then I have Liam Eichenberg, so Samuel Cosby I compared to Eric Fisher in terms of like being a very athletic tackle. They have very similar frames. I think Cosby needs to put on some weight, like just 5 or 10 pounds, just like Eric Fisher had to do coming out. And then Liam Eichenberg I compared to Anthony Constanzo, who just retired with the Colts. Like just that steady guy, plug and play day one. He's going to be there for 10 years. But he's not going to be your all-pro, left tackle. So that's my top 5. I think Eichenberg and Cosby. Cosby would probably be best case scenario. There's a name that probably everyone's going, well, wait a minute. There's one more guy, Tevin Jenkins, who I think this week Chiefs Twitter has fallen in love with, and rightfully so. Jenkins is a stud. He's going to be a great player, I think. The dude is nasty and finishes, and he made my boy Joseph Osai look like a clown a couple times on some of those plays. But and I might get run out of the building. I don't think Jenkins can play left tackle in the NFL. That's my opinion. That's tough.
Okay,
Okay, so all right. So with that being said, we've been hearing this name float around all week long. We've been hearing about Orlando Brown trade rumors.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think the Chiefs should trade for Orlando Brown, or do you think the Chiefs should keep that number 31 pick and depend on the young guy?
All right. So if I told you, let me look this up real quick. If I told you, I could give you a draft pick who is 24 years old and will make 2 Pro Bowls in his first 3 years at left or at tackle, would you take him?
At right tackle?
One at right tackle, one at left tackle.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Would you, if I told you he didn't miss a snap in 3 years, would you want him there?
Absolutely.
So here's the thing about Orlando Brown, and we can argue about athleticism and fit and all that stuff. And that's where I kind of laugh because people are like, "Oh man, Tevin Jenkins," but then they hate the idea of Orlando Brown. Is Orlando Brown a big dude who can't move super well outside? Sure. Did Orlando Brown handle his business twice a year against Myles Garrett? Yes. Has he missed a snap in the NFL? For me, it's an easy decision. I'd give up 31 in a heartbeat for Orlando Brown because whoever I'm taking at 31, I am hoping that he has a career as good as Orlando Brown has had so far. Are you going to have to pay him? Yes. But you're paying a guy who's 24 years old, has NFL bloodlines, is from all reports is extremely driven and motivated to be a franchise left tackle. He's made the Pro Bowl. Again, as an alternate or whatever, but he's made the Pro Bowl. He's played really well. He's played in a tough division, right? The Steelers and the Browns, the Steelers and the Browns defensive line. I shouldn't say the Browns are that tough. He's played against
what
teams, and he's held his own, right? He didn't in 8 games last year as a left tackle. He didn't allow a sack. If I remember right, he may have only allowed 2 quarterback hits. So is it a small sample size at left tackle? Yes, but it's a sample size in the NFL. We know that he can play. Worst case scenario, you give up this first round pick, it doesn't work out, and you play the dude at right tackle for the next 10 years, right? That's the worst case scenario. I would give up 31 in a heartbeat. I'd give up 31 and probably a little bit more to get Orlando Brown. I think he can play left tackle. Nick Jacobs had a good thread on Twitter about him a while back. The foot speed and all that stuff is a concern, but when he gets he knocks people back on his punch, and when he gets his hands on you and anchors, you're done. He was shutting down Myles Garrett, who's as freaky as they come in terms of athletic profiles in the NFL. So I say shutting down loosely because it was a battle, right? But the dude's 6'8", 355, and he takes care of his business, and you have to prioritize protecting Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day. And if you can take something that's a little more guaranteed, I would run with that. If Baltimore said, "Hey, give us 31 or give us 31 and a 4th or a 5th," I use the example of what Andy Reid did when he traded for Jason Peters when he was with the Eagles in 2009, which was a 1st, a 4th, and a 6th next year. I'd give that up in a heartbeat for Orlando Brown.
Do you think that the closer we get to draft, his price goes up or it goes down? Because they're at the point where we got to do something with him, right?
Yeah. They may wait until after the draft to trade him. That's kind of the advantage they have, which is fine with me because Kansas City should have more compensatory picks next year, assuming that Eric Bieniemy finally gets hired. So you can kind of tag in. You can say, hey, here's an extra third, right? So you have a little bit more to work with there. It wouldn't surprise me if they wait a little bit. It could happen this week. I think this is when NFL teams really kind of get an idea of what other teams are thinking, and they'll start to nail some things down. So it could happen in the next 2 weeks. I've heard a lot of talk about the Vikings, and I know that people are concerned whether or not the Ravens would even trade with the Chiefs. And my answer is, if the Chiefs offer them more, yes. So that's when it happens, it's hard to tell. I think the Ravens are probably going to, because they just paid Ronnie Stanley. They can't pay two guys left tackle money. They're going to move on sooner than later. You have a chance to get draft capital for a guy who, they invested a third round pick and they're probably going to get at least a first back. So that's good return on their investment. Now, whether or not they feel like they need to add that this year or wait a year and get somebody, that's up to them. But hopefully the Chiefs, or I would like to see them pull the trigger on the deal. So,
well, I think when Veach has his eyes set on a guy,
mm-hmm.
he usually goes and get him. Like, this is a terrible example because of this off season, but most of the guys he had his finger on, he went and got. So,
yeah.
I don't think he's afraid to pull that move. We've seen him trade first round picks before. It's not really a thing for him. So, I wouldn't be mad about it. I definitely wouldn't be mad about it. I wouldn't be mad about it.
I'll take it.
We need a left tackle. That's the most glaring need in this whole team is a left tackle. And after that, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do in the draft. Really, you can go best player available for the rest of the draft. It's not we don't have as many needs as people think.
Yeah, I think with Orlando Brown, I missed his name, but he just commented that he's been extremely comfortable.
There you go.
So just that he's been comfortable at left tackle. He looked good at left tackle, and Lamar Jackson holds the ball. He moves around a lot, just like Pat does. I know they're different players and all that stuff. I know it's a different offense, but also he talked about some of that, like more of that gritty style, like man on man, just run through your guy on the offensive line. Orlando Brown would bring you some of that too, that the Chiefs haven't necessarily had very consistently of, the last couple of years. So I think it makes sense. Again, like you said, Veach is normally pretty successful at getting those guys, but this offseason has been a challenge for him. It will be interesting to see if he can convince the Ravens, or if he's even interested. Again, this is more speculation on our part. They run, both organizations kind of keep things pretty tightly under wraps on that end. You don't hear a lot of leaks, especially from the Ravens, but even with Kansas City, it's usually you hear it maybe 24 hours beforehand. If you're lucky, sometimes it just drops in the middle of the night. But
20 minutes before it happens.
yeah. So we probably won't know till it happens. But I know there's other teams I'm sure in play. But I think I agree that for me, it's you have to get a left tackle and you have to get a defensive end, and then everything else is gravy this offseason.
Yeah, I say it's worth the investment because, I remember when his dad played in the NFL, and he was pretty decent at tackle himself, till he got poked in the eye, unfortunately, by the penalty flag. But
yeah,
is that the same guy?
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy from the Cleveland game. He got the. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. I feel stupid. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are you good, bro? But yeah, it's definitely worth the investment, man. You pay Patrick Mahomes all this money, you got to have him around for the entirety of his contract. So I wouldn't mind the trade at all. Really.
You got to protect your investment. You don't park a Ferrari on the street. You put that in the garage. So it's time to build the garage, right? Like,
especially Kansas City.
that Bugatti that was sitting in the driveway. You know that one picture, that Bugatti
Yeah.
sitting in the driveway.
Yeah.
That picture.
That's
Oh,
Patrick
Tom.
right now. He's sitting out there going, where's everybody at?
Speaking
Hey,
of
Tom,
trades,
Go ahead.
go ahead, but go ahead.
I feel like I asked everybody the question, but what did you grade Niang coming out last year?
So Niang was actually a late evaluation for me because I actually didn't look at him too much until after we drafted him. I had him as a mid-second round guy. After I went back, so I watched him just without doing much background on him. I didn't understand. So like I had heard a lot of people really liked his tape, and I understood that his 2018 was better than his 2019 stuff, and I didn't understand the injury that he was going through. Once I went back with that in mind and saw that he wasn't able to kick step, which is, you're moving laterally. His hip was so messed up. He shouldn't have been playing, honestly. But he's a tough dude, and he wasn't going to take no. But he wasn't able to move laterally to meet rushers trying to come around the edge. So he was dropping almost like every set was a vertical set for him, which is a huge disadvantage, not just in terms of like what you're doing, but in terms of how a pass rusher is attacking you. Because if they know you're stuck doing kind of one, like you have your one trick, they're going to come after you, and so all that. So it's hard to contextualize it without, keeping in mind that injury. I go back to what Chase Young said, that Niang was the toughest tackle he played in college. I do think that he's going to be a starting caliber tackle. I think the Chiefs are really high on him. I think that was the plan from the beginning. I don't know last year this time if they knew something was up with Mitch Schwartz's back. It wouldn't surprise me if it did. I don't think those injuries don't always just come out of nowhere. Sometimes they do, but just based on that trade or that draft selection, I think that this was the plan all along, was for him to start this year. I think they would have liked him to. The opt-out decision is one way. I think he's going to step in day one at right tackle, and we won't worry about it for the next 10 years. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's probably a Pro Bowl level guy. That's my expectations.
Wait a minute, Tom. So you're saying he's going to beat out Mike Rimmers?
He should.
That's rough.
That's not what Mike Rimmer agent said. No,
Yeah.
I'm just.
No, maybe Mike Rimmers will beat him out. I don't think so, but I think Niang is. I was just having a conversation earlier about what if the Chiefs are secretly planning on playing Niang at left tackle for the season. What if that was their plan? That wouldn't even. I mean, that I wouldn't rule that out entirely. But I think that the plan has been for him to be the right tackle and to take over from Mitch, and I think he's going to do it really well. And he is kind of a different. One of the things that's interesting about the last year with the Chiefs' offensive line is, they seem to be more open to some of these power players, and that's what Niang was. Like he has a really strong punch, and when he's healthy or when I was watching his older tape, like he definitely has that drive to him, and he's a big dude. He's mobile enough, but that's again talk about elements that we're missing along that offensive front. And then they had Kelechi Osemele last year. I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to build some more of this. I don't think there'll ever be a pure power man scheme, but I think that they have the potential to add a little bit more of those elements, especially in short yardage situations, so that we're not quarterback sneaking with Mahomes or doing the little rollout thing. We got to stop. Patrick Mahomes should lose his job as our short yardage runner. Situations. No more sprint options or quarterback sneaks. Just let him hand it off to somebody.
Nah, man, bring the quarterback sneak back, man. That was just a freak injury. That's like a rare occasion with quarterbacks and the quarterback sneaks, dude. Like, on fourth inches, don't play around, man. If it's really, really close to the marker, man, sneaking, man. Get the first.
Gadget play.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's the time when you put Chris Jones in at quarterback. Let him do the sneaking. Just
right. Put him in at fullback. So, Tom, have you completely ruled out re-signing Eric Fisher when he's medically clear?
No, I mean I think they planned on having Fisher on the roster for this year, but that injury means that there's a solid chance he misses at least half the season, and he had one of the bigger cap hits on the team. I think this whole offseason has been one of like on the fly adjustments for Brett Veach, because you lose Fisher in the AFC Championship game to a torn Achilles. Still don't know why they haven't re-signed Tyrann Mathieu. I don't know. Like there's just all these. You miss out on Trent Williams. You miss out on every other free agent under the sun they've gone after. Like I feel like that's all. Every free agent hits the street, and then he almost signed with the Chiefs, but instead, I'm so tired of hearing that. So it sounds like there's been a lot of like fluidity in their plans. Yeah. So I think as we get closer to training camp, Eric Fisher's best situation is with a team he knows, and they're going to put it like if he's thinking about his future, he should. You play out in a place where you do that 1-year deal, just like your contract was. I was a little surprised they didn't like restructure him or re-sign him, or try to work something out so that he was here. He can be a mentor. He can be in the building. I mean, by all accounts, he's loved by the organization. He's worked hard, has dealt with a lot of adversity. So I don't think anybody likes this as the ending for his career as a Chief. If there was a way to, finesse it where he's here for another year and maybe he plays a couple games or maybe he doesn't, but he's a leader in the locker room. He can mentor the young guy, whatever he needs to do. I definitely wouldn't be. Now I don't want to pay him. I think it's $13-14 million a year to do that. Get him on a lower deal and make it based on incentives and on playtime. But yeah, I have a soft spot in my heart for Big Fish, and I hope that if those that need and that availability meets and he's cleared, they could work something out. That'd be nice to have a different ending than just the last time we saw him was him being helped off the field in that AFC Championship game.
Yeah. And it was so close to the end of the game. It was just a terrible, the worst timing of all time.
Yep. It's
Here's another thing I just thought of, and I know we got to wrap you up. You're close on your time. Mitchell Schwartz. Can we just hire him as offensive line coach? I mean, at this point,
I don't know.
Instagram breakdowns.
Yeah, I'll say I might want him. Man, honestly, put him in the booth with Mitch Holtzis, and it can be Mitch and Mitch up there. I'm so excited about. I mean, again, nothing official, but I'm excited about his career after football. I hope that he sticks around in Kansas City and continues to be a media personality. He's just such a good dude, and the way he explains things. He's definitely a treasure. And I hope that if he wants to play, he gets healthy and he's able to play. I hope that if he's done, then he's at peace with that and he can walk away from the game, confidently. I'm gonna guess his prognosis isn't great, but that he's trying to still work through it, just knowing that he's a very tough competitor. So whatever he does next, he's gonna be, whether he's playing next year or in a booth or in a kitchen or wherever he's gonna be, I know he's gonna do great. He's been one of my favorite players the last couple of years, since he came to Kansas City. So I don't know if you guys remember the days of Donald Stevenson at right tackle, but just the fact that not Donald Stevenson made him one of my favorite people. So,
man, no, I love Mitch. I love Mitch. That was a great signing. He was always underrated and underappreciated. I love the fact that he's building a house in Kansas City.
Yep,
he's always cooking. So a restaurant may be on the way after this COVID thing passed away. I mean, but that in the booth suggestion, I like that.
Yeah,
you said it first. So if it happens, we gotta give you all the credit for putting it in the air, bro.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Mitch and Mitch in the booth. Kansas City was the radio network. Yeah.
Yeah, go trademark that right now. I don't want nobody stealing from you. Give us like 10%, though.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, this is my big break.
Right. But before we let you go, Tom, before we let you go, man, we definitely got to ask you about your mock draft. So, so like round per round, man, who do you have the Chiefs drafting?
So I'm a little bit unusual. In fact, I might pull this up here while we're sitting. I might go through them while we sit here, if you don't mind. As much as we just spent all this time talking about left tackle, I think the way this draft class stacks, the Chiefs might be better off taking a guy early on who's an edge rusher. I just got done earlier today. I did a mock draft with the Say It Again Network with the Kingdom Says podcast. We're doing that. Not to plug another guy. Sorry for plugging another show on your show.
No, we show love. It's all
Yeah.
good.
It's all friendly. But we went with Joseph Osai, who's I said we drafted him as a linebacker, and so with the news, they signed Jerron Reed. Chris Jones is going to play some more defensive end. I'm excited about the way this defense could kind of change itself in the next couple months, where if you're in a base package with Chris Jones, Frank Clark as your defensive ends, and then Noddy and Reed inside, but then on those passing downs, you have a guy. So Joseph Osai started at Texas as an outside linebacker, like off ball, then was a pure pass rusher this last year. With that experience, I'm saying play him off ball for the first 2 downs, and then when it's time to go get the pass rusher or to get the quarterback, you drop him down, let him be a pass rusher. So that versatility in the front, I'm like, that to me has been my favorite kind of fit for the last couple of weeks, especially since the Jerron Reed signing. So if you do that, I think you circle back in the second round and you draft a guy, Spencer Brown, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. He just had so if you follow MathBomb and the relative athletic score on Twitter, Spencer Brown just posted the best RAS score for an offensive tackle of all time, like since he's collected that data. He's a 10.0. The dude is an athletic freak, has a wrestling background. I love my offensive lineman to have that wrestling background. It's discipline and that kind of stuff that translates really well. I think so. He reminds me of Colton Miller from the Raiders. So you might draft him, play him day one, and he might struggle early on, but I think he's going to figure it out. So you get into round 3, and you can go a lot of different directions. Like I said, I'm pulling this up as we kind of go. I have a propensity to really like running backs, so I'm not going to take one here. But another name that's popular with Chiefs Twitter, and I'll throw him a shout out here, is Tommy Tremble out of Notre Dame. He's that versatile piece. He's going to come in, probably be your tight end 2 and block for you. But the potential as a pass catcher is there. The potential to move him around and even line him up as a fullback. You might as well, you do stuff like that. You have a guy, you have another chess piece. Make defenses worry about whatever else you're going to throw at them. So I like Tommy Tremble. I haven't watched as much of him as probably some of my colleagues, but I've heard enough from everybody else that I'm like, I could definitely do Tommy Tremble. We talked about Amir Smith-Marset earlier, so I'm just rolling through here as we talk through it. So 4th round, here he is. I'm going to take him again. Put some pressure on McColl to perform. Adds another explosive element to the offense. Takes over that kick return, punt return responsibilities, and that's a win-win. Another 4th round pick. There's a guy named David Moore out of Grambling State. He had a really good Senior Bowl. Probably a developmental guy. He's going to play your guard spot. And with Kyle Long being on a 1-year contract, throw him in there, let him get mentored by Kyle Long, kind of figure things out, come along in an NFL weight room, and you let that be what that is. I think he has the potential to be a starter down the road, so I would definitely do that. Another guy I like, I haven't talked about him. I didn't mention him earlier. Tony Fields out of West Virginia.
Linebacker, right?
Listed as a linebacker, but he's probably going to play more of a safety. He's going to play a Dan Sorensen type role. And if you like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame, go watch Tommy Fields. He's kind of like the Tony Fields. He's kind of like the dollar discount version of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Really athletic, good in space. He's that dude who's just like he's a headhunter, right? You see and hit, you let him play kind of overhang position, play on the outside, and you let him roll. So that puts us, let's see, 5th round.
Yep.
Yeah, Alex, I'm just flying through here. So Keith Taylor would be another guy out of Washington. I love Washington cornerbacks. I have since Marcus Peters. Taylor's going to get tagged with the comparisons to Kevin King out of from the Packers, who had a terrible playoff run. He's not Kevin King. I think he's a little more competitive at the catch point. Maybe not as athletic, but I really like his size and overall profile. I think you bring him in if he's your fourth or fifth guy as a corner, you're doing all right. And so one last pick for the Chiefs. I'll spoil this a little bit. We did this in the other mock. Matt Bushman. Oh wait, we took a tight end early. I take it back. We're not taking a tight end. We're gonna go offensive line again. We're gonna go Drake Jackson out of Kentucky to play offensive center. I thought he had some of the most technically sound hands of any center in the draft. He's really struggled at the Senior Bowl, so I knocked him down a little bit. But for a sixth-round guy, I'll take him there and see if he can at least compete to start at center. So there's an off-the-cuff mock draft for you. I do like 3 of them every day, so it's hard to here's my most recent one. But like I said, it's easier to run through that. So I'll recap it real quick. So first round, you get Joseph Osai, who's a linebacker / defensive end. Second round at 63, Spencer Brown, your offensive tackle, your left tackle. Third round at 94, you get Tommy Tremble, who I think is a day one starter at tight end 2. Fourth round picks, Amir Smith Marset, David Moore. Both guys could develop and should see a little bit of time early on. And then Tony Fields and Keith Taylor, both are guys who were projects. Yes, both projects kind of on the defensive side that should have roles early on. And then Drake Jackson is a guy that you hope can come in and kind of be like a Nick Allegretti, where you're like, all right, he may be competitive, he may not. He's at the very least he'll be a camp body to keep in there. So, but yeah, that would be my quick mock draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll be around. I'm sure we'll chat again soon, guys.
Yeah, love it, Tom.
Yes, sir. We will. Definitely got to check in with you after the draft. I love that mock draft, though. You hit on my knee.
Nice, man.
I would not be mad at that draft at all. Like everybody you named, I would not be mad at none of those picks.
Yeah.
So I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Veach is he's gonna probably draft a punter just to throw me off.
All
right, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm gonna take off. So
Appreciate it, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tom. Man, nah, for real. I love that draft though.
Yeah.
He hit everything. He hit everything that I would want.
Oh yeah, that's a straight A draft to me. Honestly, that's a straight A draft.
That make Boogie change his mind about Brett Veach wanting.
Good draft, Will. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people for that sake, But but let's move on from the draft a little bit, man. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about Boogie topic.
What's your topic, Boogie?
Patrick Mahomes. You talking about?
Yeah. That's where I was about to go.
What you think about that, country? I know you've been optimistic. Do you think that Super Bowl loss benefited us?
Okay, so
long time.
I think so. I agree with Pat because I think kind of humbled us a little bit, took a little bit of the kindness of it, and it's more fuel, more motivation. Like you can't go nowhere but up from where that was. You know what I'm saying? If you only good as your last game, then it ain't nowhere to go but up. So yeah, I think you're gonna use that for motivation. I think we already know Pat got some Michael Jordan in him, so he definitely took that personal, that loss, and then they still talking. Like to this day, they still talking. Man, that's enough to carry us through this season.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna read a quote from what he said. Like this was on CNBC when he made his appearance. He was like, I think defeat helps you more than success. I just do whatever I can to be better and learn from mistakes. And when you lose on the football field, or if you invest in a company that doesn't work out, or whatever it is, I think that helps you out more because it drives you to learn from your mistakes. It drives you to be better next time. And I'm with that. You know what I mean? Because of course, we didn't want that loss to be in the Super Bowl.
You kind of cut out, Chuck. You kind of cut out a little bit, bro.
Really?
He's smooth. That's
yeah.
So good.
Is that me?
That's you, I think.
Country.
Nah,
but as I was saying though, till country gets back. As I was saying though, like I agree with Patrick. Of course you don't want to lose a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, man, like it's rare that somebody goes undefeated in the Super Bowl. Like Joe Montana, he never lost a Super Bowl. But like we look at the other quarterbacks, even though the ones that have a strong winning percentage, they lost the Super Bowl before and they bounced back from it eventually. So
So
I think it's gonna motivate Patrick in the long run to just be better because like he's still young, you know what I mean? There's like a flaw, maybe two, in his game still that he can improve on, despite him being a spectacular talent. But you know, other than that, man, he's striving for greatness. I think he's gonna be ready.
you think this would make him this loss would benefit more than him going on a three-peat? This would be a three-peat right here.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
it does, man. I think it does. Because look on the surface, we can go to a few more Super Bowls right now if things work itself out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And plus, you get that added motivation of I didn't win that one, and you see the motivation that losing the AFC title game gave us. It propelled us to a Super Bowl. So we lost the Super Bowl. That should propel us right back to the Super Bowl. Like to touch on another subject that came out today is like the Chiefs are projected to win the most games in the NFL again, even with the whole that we don't even have a left tackle right now. We still projected for 12.5 wins for the year. So Vegas knows something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if we the Super Bowl favorites. I think we are still
I
though.
think yeah,
But
we was. We was.
Yeah, we are.
yeah, we should be. And I want Tampa Bay to get right back to the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for Tom Brady this year, bro. I want that
You
rematch,
sound like
baby.
me. You sound
We
like
need
me,
that
man.
rematch. We need that rematch, bro. We got to have that
Yeah,
back, bro.
It's
yeah.
like we ain't going out like
I
that,
want the
bro.
rematch.
Oh, but think about this: the motivation. Man, after the Super Bowl, I don't know if he was going through some personal stuff or whatever, but Tyrann Matthew didn't tweet for like 2 months.
Oh yeah, he took some
I
time
know
off.
they sat on that. They sat on that. On players, I know a couple players, a few players. I know a couple players. All I heard was that wasn't us. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't us. So I think they taking that as like, man, we got to prove who we are. You know what I'm saying? And people starting to doubt, and now that doubt creeping in, that's all you need for Patrick Mahomes, bro. You put him at number 10 on the NFL 100 list. He go out and throw 5 touchdowns against Chicago. You don't disrespect Pat Mahomes, bro. You know how he get, man. Like something as simple as that loss, and it was embarrassing, and it was everybody was watching.
It wasn't
Man, he
simple.
MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and a ring this year, bro.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even doubt none of them.
yeah, man. Like I'm hearing all this stuff about him being an RK quarterback, which is ridiculous. Like
Huh?
some of the plays he
Who?
make, huh? What you say, Book?
He's a who
No, I just
quarterback?
said you said an arcade quarterback. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. This dumb
what?
comment going on about him being an arcade quarterback or whatever, just because of this play style. But
So,
like,
The league
it's
caught up with him too. That's the other one. Ain't it? The league got him figured out.
yeah, that's another one. The league got to figure out he can't play with backup offensive linemen and all this other nonsense,
Shit,
bro. Like,
can't nobody
it's
do that, can
ridiculous.
man, think about what happened for Tampa Bay to beat us. Now we already been through it. We give Tampa Bay their respect. They won. But think about everything that had to go wrong for us to lose that game. Lose Eric Fisher in the Buffalo game, right?
they?
Brent Reed, the biggest distraction, distracts our whole coach, probably half our defensive line, biggest distraction ever. And prayers and love to that little girl family. I forget her name. I'm sorry. Um, biggest distraction ever. Offensive line. Mike Rimmers is starting left tackle. We got a backup here. We got a backup there. We got the backup there. Man, You know what I'm saying? Like, so we couldn't run, or when we started to run, we was too far behind. You had to throw the ball, and then think about what 5 drops at least, down drops, right? So, man, ain't what blueprint is that? Like, just blueprint, just throw the just sink them and hope they mess up. That's the blueprint.
Yeah, they gotta throw you a life raft, country. You you turn into a Terminator.
I'm drowning.
Bro. Yeah, you drowning, dog.
Man.
But I got the gist of what country said though, man. It was just the perfect storm for Tampa Bay somehow, man. Like, just the way the game was going, man. Like, you could just kind of tell like the viruses weren't there. But to go back to the running game, it's not like we couldn't run the ball. We was running the ball decent. I mean, to me, we still had plenty of time in the game to get back in it if we could just continue to run the ball. But it is what it is, dog. Can't win them all, right?
We're gonna spin the block, man. We're good. I'm ready for the new season, man. We're good.
Yeah.
I'm ready, man. I need that rematch, bro. Double back.
All right, so since we did see the win total for the Chiefs, I think it was at 12. Do you guys think the Chiefs get the 12 wins this season? Do you guys think they cover that?
I think I'm gonna take the under.
Wow.
Okay.
So what do you gotta say, bud?
I think we'll win 11. I think 11 still. We're gonna win double-digit games, but 12 and a half. They're 11. I think that might be a good bet. That's a fair bet. What you got, Chuck? You know you are a gambling expert. Oh. Even with the backup, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, Phil. Most definitely, bro.
What's up, Phil?
But country don't like the number 13, so I'm not gonna say 13. I think they'll get the 12. I think it'll be at 12. So was it 17 games this year?
Oh, I forgot about that too.
17 games.
We did an extra game.
So it'll either be 12-5 or 14-3. But I think I'm gonna lean.
I forgot about the extra game, Chuck. Yeah, we can hit that 12 then. I'm more confident with the extra game. We're not losing more than 6 games.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. 12-5. That's about right.
You know, my thing is always to go 6-2 at home, 6-2 on the road. But since we got that extra game, and it's a home game too.
Yeah, against the Packers.
We should be able to go undefeated at home. That's 9 wins right there.
Let's see how the schedule is set up first before we say 9-0. I know how you are, country. 16-0, but hold on, let's slow down. We go get there.
Hey, we was 15-1 this year. You should have been.
I mean, you did get week 17. We didn't care about that game.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So we lost that game on purpose.
Yeah. The Raiders. Oh,
speaking of motivation, remember the Raiders game when they had their little victory lap?
Yeah, I was about to mention that. Raiders fans still celebrating that, dog. I'm like, y'all still celebrating that one little victory, bro? Y'all ain't make the playoffs, man. Just
what else they gonna celebrate?
God,
that's all they got.
Just lame, dog.
So we're gonna get him back for not giving us Rodney Hudson anyway.
Right.
14-3?
Yeah, Phil got 14-3.
I ain't mad at that, Phil. I ain't mad.
Right. But yeah, Rodney Hudson, yeah. Didn't Hudson go to did he go to Arizona or Washington?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
Arizona.
Okay. I knew it was one of the teams with the red colored jersey, but yeah.
Don't worry about it. Wait till we sign Alex Smith, man. I'm just waiting on that.
This is funny.
I
remember you tweeting about that, Phil. I remember you tweeting about that day, bro. You was hot tweeting about
it. So, man, I think we've covered the draft. In totality, we still got another week and a half left.
One more
of the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We gonna get there, fellas. We gonna get there.
I can't wait for the recap show, man. I want a recap.
Oh,
Yeah. We got a
it's dope.
special guest for the recap. Y'all gonna love him. I can't believe we got this guy to come on. So that's gonna be a blessing. It's gonna be a great show. We appreciate y'all, man. Our subscribers went up. We trying to reach 100. We trying to reach 100. Help us reach 100. Like and subscribe. Get them views up, man. Come play with us, man. We really trying to get y'all the best content we can. So
tweet us some gifts for that whoever that 100th subscriber is too, man. We need some ideas. We want to give away some stuff for number 100.
And also, we close to 200 followers on the Twitter page. So I don't know. Should we do a giveaway for?
I had a Twitter giveaway, but Chuck said no, man.
I ain't say no. I ain't say no. Get out of here.
You did.
I
had the Tiana Trump OnlyFans.
Why you capping on this podcast right now? Take the cap off, bro.
You got the Tiana Trump OnlyFans login?
I'm trying to give it. Look. He wrote that. Nah, you can't get that login, man. Hold on. We giving that away on Twitter, man. What we need? 200 subscribers?
Oh my gosh, dog.
We need 7 more subscribers.
Don't listen to him, y'all.
Oh man, yeah, we definitely gonna try to do a giveaway when we reach 100 subscribers on YouTube, and we'll do something for the Twitter followers. I don't know if
you gotta do it for Twitter, man. We gotta do it for Twitter.
They wouldn't expect nothing less from you, bud.
Man, golly. But before we head out, dog, we're gonna do another Twitter Spaces soon. Hopefully, Twitter gets their stuff together, and we'll probably do a little something before the draft. You know what I mean? And then I think on Clubhouse, I think Android got the beta for that now. So I'm gonna see if I can invite Country on there, and maybe we'll do a room. Get that?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's definitely do that.
Yeah. But other than that, man, we out of here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Share this on all your social media platforms.
Tiana Trump got him stuttering, Country.
Golly. Chill out, man. Chill out. God.
R.I.P. DMX.
R.I.P. DMX,
Dark Man X, man.
For sure.
All right, Kingdom Cast, we out of here, man.
See y'all next week, man.
Trump had him stuttering, huh?